Welcome, guys, to another episode of Tier Makers. So today we are doing chips, and I've done a few Tier Makers in the past where chips were involved, but this one's just purely dedicated to chips. So without any further ado, let's get started with Puffy Cheetos. Which, come on, everybody knows they're better than the Crunchy Cheetos. Like they're fun to eat. You can if I don't know, you can line them up with your teeth and then bite down. And I don't know, they're fun to eat. They're good. A tier. Next up, Crunchy Cheetos. They're also pretty good, but they're just not as good. I'll put them in B tier. Next up, Cool Ranch Doritos. They're alright. They're not as good as the nacho cheese, which actually I think that contradicts what I said in on a tier maker like 6 months ago. But that looks like 6 months ago me's problem because Cool Ranch Doritos are not as good. D tier. Next up, we have nacho cheese Doritos, which at one point in time, for some reason, I thought they were just as good. But no, they're a tiny bit better. Not that much better, but they're a little bit better. So I'll put them in C tier. Next up, Fritos. Um, One side of this thing, it's gonna sound a little bit disgusting, but okay, you get the Fritos, and then you get like some chili, and then you get some cheese. You put it in there, and you have like a little chili cheese Fritos thing. It's pretty good. If we're talking about that, then it'd be like A tier. But since it's just Fritos by themselves, I'll put them in like D tier. Next up, Flamin' Hot Funyuns. There's some things I just think don't need to be flaming hot, and one of those is Funyuns. It just doesn't really sound like a very fun thing to eat. It just doesn't seem like a good time. I'll put it in D tier. Then there's regular Funyuns. Um, they're they're kind of they're better than the flaming hot ones, but they're like after you eat a few of them, they start to get like so like I don't know. They're very bland. They're in my opinion not that good. I'll put them in C tier. Next up, I think these are the flaming hot lime Cheetos. They're pretty good. I like them, but this one I have a little bit of an issue with is that they're just like too spicy. Well, also the flaming hot ones are like a little bit too spicy too. But these ones are like at least a little less spicy, but they're pretty good. But you can't really eat too many of them before you start to like not want to eat them anymore. I'll put it in C tier. Next up, all the kettle chips, F tier. I don't like the kettle chips. They're too hard. They're like crunchy. Well, I know chips are already supposed to be crunchy, but like they kind of just feel like stale. Like they I just like they're always feel stale, and I don't like it. They're just like weird. They're none of them are good. Next up, barbecue Lay's S tier. These are the best chips. No arguing. You can't change my mind. S tier. See, next up we have cheesy Lays. These ones are pretty good. They're kind of like let's see, what are they like? They're like yeah, they're kind of like the cheesy Ruffles, but not as good. Uh, but I mean, I'll put them in B tier. Next up, Lay's Classic. They're good. It's just that they're a little bit boring. Like I don't know, like they're very classic and good, but once you add too many of them, they're just like getting a little bit boring. I'll put it in B tier. Let's see. Next up, I think that's let's see, lime. Okay, lime Lays. Yeah, they're not very many of the Lay's flavors are good besides barbecue. Yeah, most of the Lay's flavors are not that good. I'll put this one in D tier. Next up, we have some Windex. You know, it just tastes like pure chemicals. I don't know who at Lay's thought this is a good idea. It's an abomination to ship kind, and it just was not meant to happen. If you've ever wanted to know what like pure dish detergent tastes like, probably this. But it's not very good. I'll put it in F tier. Next up, we have sour cream Lays. They're pretty good. It's just like I don't know, like after you don't have the barbecue for a while, then you like forget how good it is, and then you try this one, and you think it's really good, but then you remember how good the barbecue is. But I'll put it in A tier. Let's see. Next up, we have Ruffles Original. It's really good, especially when you have like the onion dip or whatever it is. I don't know, like whatever the dip is that they have on the package. Yeah, it's really good. But I have to put it in B tier because there's one better than it. That's Cheesy Ruffles. It's just like it's so perfect. It's like I don't know, like what I don't know who like was able to make such a perfect chip. It's just so good. I'll put it in A tier. I know I was talking really good about it, but it's not as good as barbecue. But like this one is, it's just like it's so good. Next up, we have sour cream. Um, I actually haven't had this one, but I can't imagine it being too different from the original Ruffles because you usually put it in a dip that is sour cream and onion. So I can't imagine it tasting very different. I'll put it in B tier. Let's see. Next up, we have Flamin' Hot Doritos. Again, some things don't need to be flamin' hot. Like, you can just have a chip and not have it be spicy. Not everything needs to be spicy. I don't know, I'll put it in D tier. Let's see. Next up, we have Sun Chips Salsa. Like, all the Sun Chips are pretty good. There's like one or two of them I haven't tried, but they're all pretty good. But I'll put it in A tier. It's pretty good. I tried it like I think like a week ago, but it's good. Next we have, let's see, Sun Chips Original. Original's good. But there's of course just one that we all know is better than them all. Cheesy Sun Chips S tier. It's like the cheesy Ruffles, but better. It's so cheesy and it's so great. It's just it's hard to put it in words how good they are. They're really good. Next up, I can never remember the name of these, but F tier. These are so bad. Like I feel like I've had them at like I don't know. I feel like they're the ones that they give you at like Panera or something. And I love Panera. Don't get me wrong. S tier for Panera. But the chips they give are just so bad. Like I don't know. But let's see. And then last but not least, Talkies. I have a little bit of a story. Okay. Once it was just a normal school day, and it was lunch, and then I had some of these, and then I wanted to see, and I thought I wanted to try and be funny, so I ate as many as I could in a fast amount of time. About 5 minutes later, I was sitting there. It was like, oh, I don't really feel very good. And I go to the bathroom. I just throw up all over the floor, and then like I don't tell anybody, and I just clean it up with like paper towels, and then and then like people would say that the bathroom had like a spicy aura for a while, and and whenever people would bring it up, I'd just try and switch the topic as fast as I could. God, and I have not had a talkie since. Like they're not even that good. When you have like five, like when you have like more than four, it's just not a good time. But no, they're not good. But that'll be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and goodbye.